Romans 3:7. This is a big one. Turn to Romans 3:7, where Paul says, and I quote, 7th verse, for if the truth of God hath more abounded through my lie unto his glory, why yet am I also judged as a sinner? Breaking that down. For if the truth of God hath more abounded, when you look in a dictionary, get yourself a dictionary, look at the word abounded, which means to be made more plentiful. You know, so it grew from his lie unto God's glory. Why yet am I also judged as a sinner? Now, I've had pastors tell me, well, Paul told many lies. I know Paul has told many lies about being a Jew, being a Roman, being a Pharisee. Who knows? Who cares? But we know that Paul's told a lot of lies. But the key is, what lie could Paul tell that's going to make heaven more abounded, more plentiful? You know, so, and again, it says here, lie, not lies, not plural, singular, lie unto his glory, God's glory. Why yet am I also judged as a sinner? Which lets you know what a lie is. The lie was what we just went back to in Acts chapter 9, Acts chapter 22, Acts chapter 26, where Paul told the lie about meeting Jesus, and Jesus told him to take the doctrine and give it to the Gentiles, which brought more people to God, which made heaven more plentiful, more abounded. So Paul even admits his lie right there, you know. And so the more we get into this, you know, the more we're going to start to discover that, the New Testament, which is full of Paul's books, and it'll let you know that from that point, anything Paul written or Paul influenced, you can chuck and throw away pretty much. Because here's a man that has admitted his lie. And when you talk to most people, most Christians, you ask them about Christianity, they take you to Paul. You know, it's never through Jesus. Okay, we know John 3:16. Everybody wants to go there. You want to talk about Matthew. Well, take me anywhere in Matthew, you know, which the conspiracy here is what we're trying to break through. And when you look at Matthew, even the book of Matthew, if I take you to Matthew real quick, again, this all ties in with one another. As far as the New Testament is concerned, New Testament meaning new religion, you know, is concerned, Paul's religion, because it's definitely not God's religion. Definitely wasn't Yeshua's religion or Jesus's religion, whatever you want to call him. I don't even like to call him God, because again, if man can name it, then man could have made it up. So when you look at Matthew, you go to Matthew 9:9, and Matthew wrote the book of Matthew. Remember, Matthew 9:9 says, and as Jesus passed forth from thence, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the receipt of custom. And he said unto him, follow me, in red. So we know Jesus said, follow me. And he arose and followed him. So unless Matthew has schizophrenia, he's writing in third person. You know, why would someone write a book, their book, in third person? Now, if Matthew had written this, it could have just as easily said, and as Jesus passed forth from thence, he saw me sitting at the receipt of the custom, and he said to me, follow me. And I arose and followed him. That's first person. That's my experience. First person is your experience. So why is Matthew writing in third person experience? And as Jesus passed forth from thence, he saw a man named Matthew sitting at the receipt of custom, and he said unto him, follow me. And he arose and followed him. And he, meaning Matthew, arose and followed him. Who wrote Matthew? So now you got the book of Matthew. We got all of Paul's books, which might be like 14 books in the scriptures. Man, you're kind of only left with, you know, a couple of the Gospels, you know, in particular the book of John, you know, 1 John, 2 John, 3 John, the Peter's, book of Revelation. Man, it's getting kind of, the New Testament's getting kind of small now, you know. So when we break that down, again, we're talking about Paul. We're not really picking on Saul here. We're just breaking down the conspiracy. You know, Away from the Light Street Ministries is about breaking through the conspiracy so that you can take the power back in your own self. You know, it's about you and your relationship with God, with Spirit. You know, as Jesus said, no man comes to the Father but by me. Not by the Pope, not by the priest. You know, let man confess to one another, as the book of James said. You know, you don't have to confess in private, you know, in hiding. There's a lot of churches out there that are pretty much, hate to say it, are ripping people off. You know, you watch people giving their last dollars to churches and to pastors. And I'm not saying that the pastor doesn't deserve to eat, doesn't deserve to live. I'm not saying that. But you watch people giving their last dollar, yet they're losing their lights get cut off, can't pay their rent, can't pay their bills, and the church is not there for them. That's godly? It's not the godly I'm talking about. You know, not the godly that I know about according to, again, the scriptures, which I did not write. So I can take no blame nor any credit for what's in here on these pages that William Shakespeare wrote. But that's another study, and a whole entirely different study. So again, we've showed you where Paul, you will have a recap at the end of this, but you saw where Paul on the road to Damascus never met Jesus, told a blatant lie in it. And the Bible is the number one selling book or number one produced book in the world. And you got to lie in this. And you know, I once talked to my pops, who's a deacon in the church and whatnot, and he once told me there was a misprint. So I said, oh, that's a misprint, huh? Okay. So we got millions and millions of people out here that are basing their lives on a book surrounded by a misprint. Sounds pretty funny to me. I don't know. You tell me. Yes? No? Maybe? I don't know. Let me know. So, with that being said, I don't want anybody to be confused here, because we're going to go, let's quickly go to what the good book says about confusion and where it comes from.